So we're taking a closer look at planet Earth this month and how the International Space Station plays such an important role as a platform for studying it. And joining me today to talk a little bit more about that, Dr. Lisa Vanderbloemen, who's the manager of our Earth Science and Remote Sensing Office here at JSC, who actually gets to work with the astronauts on pretty much a daily basis and their role in actually monitoring the Earth from above. So first off, just tell me, why is it valuable, why is it important to use the station as a platform, to take a closer look at our planet?
Well, Dan, everyone should realize that the Earth is very dynamic.
Yes.
And it's constantly changing. And so from the viewpoint on Earth, it's very hard to see large-scale changes and so forth. So if we step away and we can look at the Earth from above, we can get a very good feel for all of the dynamic changes that are happening both in the ocean, in the atmosphere, on land, and so forth. And climate change, as we all know, is a big thing these days. And so it gives us a good opportunity to look at things like aerosols, pollution, changes in the atmosphere, changes in the ocean winds, and so forth. So lots of good opportunities. We can even look at changes in forest canopy and so forth.
So there's a lot you can see when you're, traveling 260 some miles above 17,000 miles. They're covering a lot of ground.
Yep.
How do you guys actually, pick and choose some of the stuff that they are, assigned to look at, to investigate?
Well, recently, within the last year or so, we developed a system on our website where we actually have a form that scientists and educators can actually apply for sites, for targets. And so we read those, we review those, and we either approve or disapprove, usually approve. And so lots of good studies out there for both scientists, educators, and teachers and students are also involved in asking for sites. We also, one of our major charters is involved. We're involved with the IDC, the International Disaster Charter. So anytime any major event occurs, disaster occurs, we make that a priority target for the astronauts to take.
Things like forest fires, hurricanes, stuff like that.
Flooding, any of those types of things. And lots of times it's in third world countries as well, where it's very helpful if we can get some imagery back to those folks. It helps in the recovery and that type of thing.
Okay. And you actually, so you brought a couple of samples, some of the stuff. I mean, anytime we see views of Earth from above, it's always stunning. So just, walk us through a couple of these. Tell us what we're looking at.
Sure. This one is just an example of what the type of detail that we can see. This is geological, obviously. It's the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon, and you can see the 3D view there, and you can actually see, if you look close enough, the waterfall, the water flowing through the river.
Wow.
This is one of our favorites. This is Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, and what you're seeing here is Western Canada and British Columbia and so forth. Those are the lights that you see there, and some of the lights there also are due to a lot of the oil drilling and the fracking that's going on in that region.
Really?
Yep, and you can actually see that from space. So beautiful. Here's an example of an actual volcano in Papua New Guinea. It's one of the most active volcanoes there, and we actually caught it as it was erupting. Very active area there tectonically. Here's a good study that we've actually looked at using multiple imagery. You can see there in 2002 versus 2013, that you see the Uppsala Glacier down in the Patagonia in South America. You can see that it's melted quite a bit just in the 10 to 11 years there. The edge of it in 2002 was to the left there. To the right is where it's actually melted due to warming in 2013. So we can actually see that with imagery. Here's a very recent example of some of the volcanoes that we see down in Peru and Bolivia, and you can see just the detail that you see there is just amazing. This is very interesting. I really like this image. This is the Koreas, and you can see that to the right there is North Korea, and to the left there, where you see no lights whatsoever, is actually North Korea, which is indicative of the political situation there. And you have China to the top there. And here's another nighttime vision of Cairo, Egypt, and you can see the Nile extending to south of Cairo there, and you can see that the lights obviously indicate where folks are living and so forth. And also to the north of Cairo is the actual river basin, if you will, the delta from the Nile.
So able to, track a lot of geological and man-made things,
Correct.
from the station. I think we
Correct.
also have a video real quick.
Oh, yeah.
If you could walk us through that as well.
Sure. We one of our fun activities, we have quite a lot of fun activities, is to actually put together a lot of these images. Here you can see we're moving from Mexico. You saw Houston there, San Antonio, and we keep moving towards the east. East sort of northward here, and you'll see some more imagery coming, some more cities coming up: Birmingham, Atlanta, Nashville, Memphis, St. Louis to the left there in the image. And we're continuing to move towards the east here. And again, these are made from single images, and you see Indianapolis, Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina, and now we're moving up along the eastern seaboard, if you will, of the United States, and you can see Washington D.C. with all the lights, in Philadelphia, New York City. To the west is Toronto and Detroit. There you'll see also some of the lakes there, the darker features. And then we continue to move up north along the east coast. You see Boston, Canada to the left there, to the west, Montreal and Ottawa. And again, very, very clear in these images or these photos where civilization is residing.
And I mean, they're stunning just to look at. I mean, those pictures, it's almost like looking at stars and galaxies in a picture from Hubble, but it's really just the cities right below these astronauts.
It is.
It's fascinating. So the station, obviously, people on it, what are some of the advantages of having people in the loop instead of just, remote satellites up in orbit?
Well, it's interesting. My background is remote sensing using satellites. And so I've come here and have been able to see the advantages of having handheld photography. As I mentioned earlier, one of our major emphasis is on international disaster charters. And these are events that are dynamic and occur overnight. And so if we have a human there that we quickly turn around and get those images taken, that's very, very important. And we don't have to task a satellite to actually take some images. It's quicker. People, and also the public just loves the human interaction, knowing that a person took this picture. And so that's just a real plus there.
And I heard you got a call from space once, too. That must have been really cool.
Yes, I did. One of the astronauts, Gerst, actually gave us a call to just chat and have some questions for us. And I got the rest of the members of the group into the office just because that doesn't happen very often. But we do get a chance to deal with the astronauts. I had Sam Cristoforetti come into my office as well and chat about things. So it's a lot of fun to get to talk to these humans in this regard. Great.
All right. Well, again, Dr. Lisa Vanderbloemen, the manager of our Earth Sensing and Earth Science and Remote Sensing at JSC. I'm sorry, too many titles.
Yep.
But again, thank you so much for joining me. Sure. We're going to be looking at the Earth all month long and how the station is a part of monitoring it. Thanks so much for joining here, and awesome pictures, always a blast to look at.
A lot of fun.
Thanks.